The Knicks are focused on the second round of the playoffs. And as we recently learned, New York will be facing off against the Indiana Pacers in the semifinals of the Eastern Conference. And this actually reignites and renews a classic rivalry. Only this time, we have Jalen Brunson and the Knicks leading the charge against Tyrese Haliburton and the Indiana Pacers. We're going to break down this series, what advantages the New York Knicks have against the Pacers, and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. The rivalry has been renewed. The Knicks versus Pacers are set for the second round of the playoffs. The Knicks now have a date with destiny. For all of my older Knicks fans, you know what I'm talking about. Going back to the Reggie Miller days, going back to the Roy Hibbert days, going back to the days when the Pacers and the Knicks always used to do battle in the playoffs. And each time they did, it was a highly competitive matchup, and they did a lot of trash talking. This time around, I don't anticipate the trash talking, but in terms of a competitive series, you're absolutely going to get that. After the Knicks closed out the Sixers and the Pacers closed out the Bucks last night, I knew this matchup was going to be electric. And absolutely, that's exactly what it's going to be. As we see here, the Knicks have advanced to the Eastern Conference semifinals after defeating the Philadelphia 76ers in a highly competitive Game 6. And then the Indiana Pacers did the same thing with the Milwaukee Bucks. After that happened, it created this clash. And you know, the funny part is, if you go back to the beginning of the season, one of the main conversations at that time was who was the better point guard, Tyrese Haliburton or Jalen Brunson. And now in the postseason, we actually get to see it happen in real time and figure it out. Who's going to be better? Whose team is going to be better, Jalen or Tyrese? Now, of course, for me, I'm putting all of my eggs, all of my favor into the Knicks because I believe they're going to close out this Pacers team in 5. Gentlemen sweep them. I think they can do it given the personnel they have on their roster. And also, the Pacers don't really play defense. And the Knicks, they're one of the more physical, one of the most defensive teams in the NBA. You pair all of that against a Pacers team like we've just seen, it means bad things for the Pacers and very good things for the New York Knicks. But before we break down this series and the advantages the Knicks have over the Pacers, let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule and when the Knicks and the Pacers are set to do battle. As we see here, and shout out to the accounts New York Basketball on the app X and NBA insider Steph Bondy with the New York Post for giving us the following information about the Knicks and Pacers Game 1. According to Bondy, that game will be played on Monday at MSG at 7:30 p.m. It will also be broadcasted on TNT. It will no longer be broadcasted as well on MSG networks. That means you can only watch it on TNT. There will no longer be any more Mike and Clyde. I know it's sad, it's unfortunate, but this is just the reality, folks. Looking at the schedule, we can see Game 1 is on Monday, May 6th at 7:30 p.m. on TNT. Game 2 is Wednesday, May 8th at 8 p.m. on TNT. Then you have Game 3 on the road for the Knicks in Indiana on Friday, May 10th. And that's a 7 p.m. game on ESPN. And then you have Game 4 on Sunday, May 12th. That's going to be an afternoon game at 3:30 p.m. on ABC. And then if necessary, we'll have Games 5, 6, and 7. The dates and times for those games are still to be determined as we don't know yet if the Knicks could potentially sweep the Pacers. If that happens, we won't have to worry about any of those games anyways. I'm just going to come out and say it. The Philadelphia 76ers, even though they weren't fully healthy, 70%, 80%, whatever you want to say, I still think they're a harder matchup than the Pacers. The fact that the Knicks had to take on Philly in the first round makes them a stronger and tougher team. They gained that experience from the first round, and they also have experience from last year in the second round. They also know what it feels like to lose in the second round, and they don't want to feel that again. The Pacers, they're a young team. They're doing their thing. Shout out to them. But they don't have the experience right now. And honestly, with Jalen Brunson leading the way, I don't think they have even the right leader in charge. Because if you look at Jalen Brunson, what he's done for this Knicks team this season, how he's turned this franchise around, he's led this team to the #2 seed in the Eastern Conference, despite all of the injuries that we've had to deal with throughout the course of this season. Despite losing our 3-time All-Star in Julius Randle, we just beat Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey from the Philadelphia 76ers without Julius Randle. We did it on the back largely of Jalen Brunson, who dropped 40-point game after 40-point game after 40-point game, doing something that we haven't seen in playoff history since maybe LeBron James or Michael Jordan. Look at the company that he's joining, given the play he's giving the Knicks right now in the postseason. He has been one of the best players, not point guards, players in the postseason since it started. And continuing on into the second round, that's only going to ring true. I have respect for Tyrese Haliburton, and honestly, I think he's a very good player and a very good playmaker as well. But Jalen Brunson, he's elevated his game since the beginning of the season. Early on, the knock against Brunson and Tyrese was that Tyrese can play make more and get others involved. But Brunson, he can score better than Tyrese, but he can't pass like Tyrese. He can't play make like Tyrese. You know what? Maybe that's still true to an extent, but Brunson has largely closed that gap. He is averaging, again, career highs in assists this year. And as soon as that OG Anunoby trade happened, his assists ticked up and he started passing the ball more, playmaking more. He also started seeing more doubles and more triple teams. And when you start seeing that, it naturally makes you more of a passer and a playmaker because you have to get rid of the ball faster and have to get others involved so they can make a play. They can be impactful. Brunson has done that on each and every stage at each and every level. What do you think is going to happen against the Indiana Pacers? Who is going to stop Brunson on the Indiana Pacers? Because I can't think of anybody who's going to do that. And the rebounds that they were getting against the Bucks, do you think they're going to get those rebounds with Ihart in the game, with Josh Hart in the game, with Mitchell Robinson in the game? No. The Knicks are one of the best rebounding teams in the league. We get second chance opportunities. That's how we win games. The Pacers, they win games by pushing the pace. They are a very high offense team. They like to push the pace, try to run up the court, and try to score as many points as fast as possible. Credit to them. It works in certain occasions. It works against certain teams. But against the Knicks, it's not going to work because the Knicks, they control pace very, very well. Why? Because of Jalen Brunson. Never gets sped up, never gets slowed down. Always moves at his own pace. Unflappable. Once you think you have him figured out and you trap him, he's going to get out of the trap and make an impactful play. We've seen it time and time again. We saw it all throughout the Sixers series. It's going to be true against the Pacers as well. Again, respect to Tyrese Haliburton. But my guy, Jalen Brunson, has leveled up. He's leveled up from the beginning of the season to now. Not only has he become an all-star, he has become a superstar right before our eyes. And right now, Tyrese Haliburton cannot touch Jalen Brunson. And if you don't believe me, it's okay. I understand it. Let's take a look, not even at the regular season. Let's take a look at the playoff numbers. Since both of these guys just finished playing 6 games, it's perfect. Let's take a look at their numbers in the postseason. Thus far, Jalen Brunson is averaging 35.5 points, 9 assists, and 4.5 rebounds in 6 games. Tyrese Haliburton in 6 games is averaging 16 points, 9.3 assists, and 5.8 rebounds. The numbers speak for themselves. Again, the eye test does as well. If you watch Jalen, you watch his footwork, you watch the way he scores and how he gets other players involved, you already know. Jalen Brunson right now, especially in the playoffs, is the better player. He is probably one of the best players in the postseason. Tyrese Haliburton is good, and maybe you can make the argument right now that he's a better playmaker than Jalen Brunson is. But in terms of passing, like I said, Brunson has closed that gap significantly, and I only think he's going to continue to do that as his career continues with the Knicks. But as of right now, it's clear, given the numbers, given the eye test, given everything we've seen during the regular season and during the postseason, Jalen Brunson is a superior player over Tyrese Haliburton. It doesn't mean Tyrese Haliburton is bad. It just means Jalen Brunson is that much better. And that's a scary thought, especially if you thought that Haliburton was amazing, so good, so great. That means Brunson is even more amazing, even more great, even more spectacular. And he is. Shout out to David Aldridge from NBA.com for giving us the following information regarding the Knicks and how they can attack Indiana and win against them in the postseason. According to him, gumming up Indiana's attack is key. The Pacers rank number 2 in the NBA in pace and average 16.6 fast break points. Forcing them to play in the half court, get stuck in isolation, and fight the shot clock is a recipe for disrupting their rhythm. He continues by stating, shooting is the most important thing in this game, but it also pays to get more shots than your opponent. And this series could come down to turnovers or lack thereof on one end of the floor versus rebounds on the other end of the floor. It's like I've been saying all video long. Not only control the pace, but also control the boards. If you do that against Indiana, and you also play them very physically, very aggressively, and play top-nose defense, you're going to beat them. You might blow them out. You might sweep them. If they're lucky, they might win a game, but in the end, you'll still gentleman sweep them. What I'm saying is, this series, this matchup for the Knicks is an easier series than the Philadelphia 76ers matchup was, just because given the players that they had, the physicality that they were playing with, the shooters that they had, I was more worried about the Sixers than I was about the Pacers, even with Embiid hobbled. Because if you look at the Pacers, Siakam, yes, he's dangerous, but we have OG Anunoby. I can stick OG Anunoby on Siakam all day. Let's see him get out of jail real quick. So that's that. With Tyrese Haliburton, like I said, I'm not worried about him because I have a Jalen Brunson. On the boards, the Knicks are going to have the advantage. They have iHeart, they have Precious Achiuwa, and they also have Mitchell Robinson. For the Pacers, they only really have Miles Turner, and he can grab rebounds and he can block shots, but normally you'll find him on the perimeter or you'll find him shooting threes, not really inside too much. And since that's the case, the Knicks are going to eat the boards alive. Josh Hart going to destroy them on the boards. Mitch destroying you on the boards. iHeart destroying you on the boards. There's a pattern there. That's why it doesn't matter what the Pacers do. They will never, ever be able to defeat the Knicks on the boards. They'll never be able to grab more boards than this Knicks team. They just don't have the personnel, but the Knicks do. That's why they're going to dominate the boards. I can't wait to see Jalen Brunson attack, take it to the Indiana defense, and let them know real early that they do not have an answer for Jalen. And once they understand that and they realize that, they'll know soon enough the series is over. Because if you can't stop Jalen, if you can't make life hard for Jalen, he is going to torch you each and every game. The Knicks are likely going to blow you out each and every game, and it's not even going to be a series. It's going to be a massacre, and I hope that's exactly what it is. After this tough series against the Sixers, I wouldn't mind having an easy series against the Pacers. I don't think it's going to be easy, but if it is, I'll welcome it. Either way, Knicks are winning this series. My prediction, Knicks in 5. But if they sweep the Pacers, would I be surprised? No, because the Knicks are a better team and they have the better point guard, Jalen Brunson. But what about you guys? What do you guys think about this second round matchup between the Pacers and the Knicks, reigniting the flames of an old rivalry? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.